shown up already. Thank you. David?
This is working okay? Great. I'm David Marzahl. I'm President and CEO of Center for Economic Progress, and I've been very pleased actually to work with Laura and with Wendy and the team at United Way to advise and consult kind of around the financial stability framework. I had the good fortune of doing some work nationally with United Way around that too, and I think having that framework adopted, I think is very important in terms of not only the work we do, but much more importantly in terms of providing an infrastructure for the low-wage workforce, for the low-wage family workers and their families around Chicago. By way of background, as the name Center for Economic Progress alludes to, our focus is around moving low-wage workers and their families from financial uncertainty to financial security. We actually changed our mission statement about a year and a half ago, until we realized just how much it would resonate and how perfect it would be for this climate. But in a scary sort of way, because I can't tell you how often I'm out speaking and people say, okay, how are, where's the progress, what's going on? And we're an organization that is very much based on numbers and on evidence. And while we show good numbers, as I think Laura indicated in her opening remarks, I think the environment around us is a terrible environment, especially for low-income families. Our the core of our work is place-based in the sense that we are a provider on our own and through an army of about 1,300 volunteers of free tax and financial services. We work with many of the community partner agencies, among them the CARE program, to bring free tax services to communities all over Chicago, the suburbs and downstate. Demand is quite overwhelming, and the reality of why this program is so important is because there is a lot of embedded value in the tax code in terms of refunds, and I'll talk about that in a moment, that for low-wage workers actually gives them an income boost, a significant income boost. We really expanded our work significantly beyond that. We understand that there's just a need for people to have a grasp of the financial system. We work with banks and credit unions to provide them access to good low-cost accounts. We have now expanded our efforts to work and counsel with both young adults and teenagers around access to need-based aid. And as Ann alluded to, we're working very hard to get people into all the need-based aid, but at the same time have to fight for every dime. Just as Pell Grants are increased and there was a new tax credit at the federal level, we have to worry about the state grants being cut. And so it's a pretty unenviable environment in that regard. But in terms of a broader framework, it's about providing tools, opportunities, and the skills necessary to navigate what I think is a very complex financial system, which ties into the workplace, because I think if people don't, a job is critically important, but at the end of the day, there were an awful lot of people who got stuck making bad choices financially in the last few years, who did have jobs, who didn't lose jobs, and who now are at risk of losing their homes. And so we see just the need to build that knowledge, build that skill level. In terms of a particular victory, we do a lot of work in the area of policy. We are, while we at core are a direct service provider, we embed in that work kind of a research and evaluation agenda. And we noticed back when I started the organization, when I started with the center, I'm only the second executive director, I started 11 years ago, that the state tax code was incredibly regressive, and that most low-wage workers were actually getting a big federal refund and were owing the state taxes. So we established a coalition with Voices for Illinois Children and a number of other groups, and we actually got the state, when fiscal times were better, to pass an earned income tax credit to parallel the federal credit. And to put it very simply, this is a credit that was established first at the federal level in 1974. It provides, at the federal level, it is probably the most important income boost for low-wage workers. Literally 22 million families nationally took advantage of it last year, brought back $45 billion in tax refunds, but you only get it if you work. And there's been a lot of misinformation about it. Well, we worked at the state level to get that established. It stayed there, but again, it's one of those issues in the state fiscal crisis that we worry about. And in reality, it's a very small credit at the state level, but it was one of the only steps Illinois has taken to create a more fair and more progressive tax code since the income tax was established in 1969.